It's almost like at every month we have to say, all right, do we want to terminate this relationship to get paid? And how far are we going to let this go before we finally put our foot down?
Subcontractors are operating and having to pay for materials and labor up front, but often not getting paid for 60 to 90 days. In fact, 16% of the industry is getting paid within 30 days. So I want to open up this discussion a bit to talk about the payment chain. And first of all, why does it take so long? And do we recognize that there is issues with it?
We see the end result for sure. I mean, 16%, so that means 84% aren't getting paid when, as outlined per what is most likely contract terms. As to why, I mean, we submit the invoice. Ostensibly, we did the work correctly. So, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. I mean, I have some ideas. I think that, but a lot likely happens behind the scenes.
First, I guess it would need to be determined on what is late as far as a payment. Conversations have been payment terms for subcontractors are net 30. Typically, our contracts are pay when paid. So pay when paid can be a very broad range, and that is ultimately the reason why subcontractors feel they are not paid on time, because I'm not paying the subcontractor as a general contractor until I'm paid by the owner. And then I would turn it over to Mr. Developer here to see just why that is.
I remember years ago, Carl Pantoni found out that there was an average pay in the industry and his controller was paying within the average pay. And he went ballistic about it. Well, that's not right. That's not what we agreed to do. So I know it's a big deal to him. Just, frankly, harkens back to our trust thing. You want to get paid for when you put your invoice in for the contract. That builds up trust, because you want to do the work, get paid for it, move on, and keep on the next job going. So I would hope that's not a prevalent thing within my world, but it happens, obviously, based on the statistics you just read off, that it happens. It's not right. You shouldn't be funding projects.
Yeah, it's definitely prevalent in the industry. I mean, I can speak from experience, and also I think the statistic speaks for itself, and many subcontractors I know as well. We submit, we get approval, and then it's like, oh, we're waiting on payment. We're waiting on it. You should be receiving it soon. We're waiting on it. And I don't know that we ever really get, at least I can speak for myself, I've never really gotten a clear answer. It's always been, well, yeah, but we're processing as fast as we can. Like, we have it, it's going through the proper channel, and that's really it. There is a real life element to it where sometimes Cynthia wasn't there, she was out sick for a few days, and so you're now tasked with saying, well, are they a liar? Or, is it just this one time? And does it happen next month? And so there's all these embedded challenges. And at the end of the day, your leverage is you can pester and verbally say, hey, look, I really want to get paid. I obviously, here's the contract. But at the end of the day, I mean, the end goal of a subcontractor on our end is to have a strong relationship that spans over multiple projects. And so it's almost like at every month we have to say, all right, do we want to terminate this relationship to get paid? And how far are we going to let this go before we finally put our foot down? And then you compare that to the industry norm, which is what we just talked about. It's like, well, they're not even doing anything that most general contractors statistically aren't doing. So then the GC is like, look, we're kind of just like everybody else. And so it creates this challenge, and I think it obviously cash flow issues within the business for sure.